This is part 2 of one interesting fact from every episode of Family Guy. In this video, we'll cover every episode from seasons 9 to 15. If you missed part 1, check the link in the description or pinned comment below. Okay, kicking things off with the first episode of season 9, and then there were fewer.
He's dead.
Oh my god!
This Agatha Christie-inspired episode also happens to be Seth MacFarlane's favorite episode, seeing it as a great example of how the show can be experimental. I think he was just happy to kill off some lesser-liked characters.
Oh my god, it's you! The man or woman who's been killing everybody!
And for the episode Excellence in Broadcasting, the show introduced its brand new intro sequence.
It seems today that all you see is violence in movies and on TV.
Changes to the intro include a new high-definition look and the integration of other characters dancing in the background. It's a new era for the show, as now it can gross you out in HD.
He's a family guy.
And the episode Welcome Back Carter is the first episode in the series where Stewie doesn't make an appearance.
Hey, can we change the channel? I'm tired of watching old ships.
Not only that, but none of the Griffin children appear in this episode, marking the first time all 3 kids were absent from the same episode. It's an adults-only episode, and there's plenty of adultery to go around.
Ew! No, this is my sister. Ew! No, I'm impotent. Ew!
And the following episode, Halloween on Spooner Street, marked the show's first ever Halloween episode.
How do you not know about trick-or-treating?
Well, how do you not know that your reflection in the patio door isn't another dog?
This is also one of those rare occurrences where there are 3 plots in the episode rather than the usual 2. One with Brian and Stewie, one with Peter, Joe, and Quagmire, and one with Meg and her friends. Some are a little less scarring than others.
Chris?
Meg?
The following episode, Baby You Knocked Me Out, featured a funny little newspaper gag. When the article about Lois becoming the top fighter in Quahog is published, a subheading also reads, Quahog informant to start printing news instead of just horizontal lines. And they wonder why print is dead.
Okay, you little that's it! You want with me? Let's go!
And the plot to Brian Writes a Bestseller may be potentially inspired by a real-life occurrence.
3 hours, 27 minutes, and I got myself one big steaming pile of book.
So in 1969, a group of journalists got together and wrote a romance novel called Naked Came the Stranger, designing it to be a parody of all they saw wrong with the literary world at the time. And wouldn't you know it, it became a bestseller. Remember, don't blame the garbage you see out in the world, blame the people consuming that garbage.
At least stand by your dump.
And the first Christmas episode in 9 years, Road to the North Pole, would win the show a prestigious award.
Buddy boy, I got your Christmas right here.
This episode would nab them the Emmy for Outstanding Sound Mixing for a Comedy or Drama Series. They just had to pay respects to an episode that gave us not 1, but 2 all-time classic Christmas songs.
Because Christmas time is killing us. Killing us!
And in New Kidney in Town, we learn the origin of one of Peter's greatest enemies.
I once tried to clone a chicken. The result wound up being a man-sized chicken that was incredibly hostile.
Ah, so what you're saying is it should be Dr. Hartman who should be footing the bill every time the town gets destroyed by one of those fights.
Okay, Doc, we gotta have a talk at some point, but Brian, are you sure about this?
And the episode in I'm Joyce Kinney resurrected a once-dead character, though probably not one you'd expect.
I have had an abortion.
She's, of course, referring to Partial Terms of Endearment, where she carried the baby of a friend who later died alongside her husband. Except her husband Dale can be seen sitting next to Joyce in church later in the episode. The old fake your death to get out of raising a child plan. Works every time. And the following episode, Friends of Peter G, sees Peter forced to attend Alcoholics Anonymous.
Hey, anyone in the house addicted to alcohol?
The title of the episode is in reference to another name members of AA use, Friends of Bill W, which is in reference to Bill Wilson, one of the founders of the organization. But at least being Friends of Peter G gets you into some solid musical numbers.
You'll feel better once you've testified. Testify.
In episode 11, German Guy, Chris befriends an elderly German man named Franz Gutentag.
Good day to you, Mr. Griffin.
And his last name actually translates to Gutentag, which means good day in German. But this is a fake name, as his actual last name is Schlechtnacht, which is the inverse and translates to bad night. Oh, and he's secretly a Nazi. Don't you hate it when that happens?
So now you know the truth.
And the following episode, The Hand That Rocks the Wheelchair, is one of the show's voice actors' favorite episodes.
I hear you teenage girls are pretty hot on that, Nick Cage.
Patrick Warburton, who voices Joe, has stated that this is his favorite episode, and even got to record lines with Mila Kunis in the same session for it, which isn't usually the case for animation. Though I do wonder how weird it got in that recording booth with scenes like these.
We haven't made love in 2 weeks.
You haven't made love ever.
And in Trading Places, the layout of the Griffin house doesn't exactly add up.
Let's just go knock on all the doors of all our neighbors and tell them I'm a failure!
The dining room is in the back of the house, yet in this scene it looks out onto the main road. They've actually done this a lot in the show to make certain scenes work. And Chris just had to have his heart attack on the front lawn.
Oh my god! I think Chris is having a heart attack!
We're not supposed to leave the table.
And in Teagues for Two, Brian and Quagmire end up on a double date together with each other's exes.
Oh, hey guys! Fancy me running into you here!
It looks like they're at a fancy French restaurant, but I'm not sure how good it can be since its name, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that, roughly translates to the stupid fool. That must be what you feel like after spending $100 on a bowl of pasta here.
Does Jillian know you're half Polish, Mr. Quagglecheck?
You son of a...
And the episode Brothers and Sisters marks the first time Carol Peterschmidt has spoken in almost 10 years.
You can't imagine how it feels to have your heart broken so many times.
And where's that baby of yours? Did it find a way to divorce you too? Moving on to the episode The Big Bang Theory, which contains a little nod to Back to the Future too.
Vatican has been holding this note for you for about 500 years.
This way for Stewie to communicate with Brian from the past is pulled directly from the ending of Back to the Future too. This goes even deeper as the priest is voiced by Joe Flaherty, who plays the man that hands Marty the letter in the movie. Random, easily missed references are what makes this show so great, huh?
A tip is customary.
And in Foreign Affairs, the episode features a recreation of the American Dad intro, but with Joe.
Good morning, USA. I got a feeling that it's gonna be a wonderful day.
I mean, it makes sense. He and Stan have a lot in common. Strong jaw, intense patriotism, 2 working legs. I honestly can't tell the difference.
Oh boy, it's swell to say. Good morning, USA!
And the final episode of Season 9, and also the final Star Wars parody, is It's a Trap.
It's a trap! It's a trap!
Also, who's Cat?
Peter's boss at the brewery, Angela, appears as Mon Mothma, and since she's voiced by Carrie Fisher, that makes her the only actor in the special to have actually been in Star Wars.
Let's pretty much just attack like we did last time. Sound good? No need to fix what ain't broke, right?
And the first episode of Season 10, Lottery Fever, originally ended with a sweepstakes winner announcement.
Yes, we won the lottery!
So Fox was running a sweepstakes where one lucky winner would get $3,000 and their name announced at the end of the episode. The winner was a man named Daniel San Martin Marrero, and his announcement was only aired on Fox, so finding footage of that was kinda hard. And in Seahorse Seashell Party, Brian goes on one heck of a mushroom trip. The visuals of Brian's trip are inspired by the painting Dolgret by the painter Peter Bruegel the Elder. It depicts a woman leading soldiers through hell, and the name Dolgret actually translates to Mad Meg, something that is very much present in this episode.
Oh, you think that's funny, fat ass?
In the episode Screams of Silence, the story of Brenda Q, Joe states that the police can't get involved with Quagmire's sister's abusive boyfriend unless she reports him.
I can't arrest Jeff unless Brenda files a formal complaint with the police.
This actually isn't true. A domestic abuse arrest can be made on probable cause without the agreement of the victim. Like, I know Joe isn't a detective, but you'd have to be completely oblivious to not see what's going on.
Let's waste this.
And the episode Stewie Goes for a Drive features a cartoonish portrayal of Ryan Reynolds, who's voiced by the actor himself.
From The Proposal and The Change-Up and a ton of upcoming stuff? Yeah, that's me.
This would be the beginning of an ongoing series of cameos from Reynolds and Seth MacFarlane's projects, as the actor also cameoed in Ted and A Million Ways to Die in the West. They have a friendship based on respect, trust, and early 2000s rumors that Reynolds was gay.
Whoa, freeze frame. What's gonna happen next?
And in Back to the Pilot, Brian and Stewie go, well, back to the pilot episode.
That's odd. It's our house, but somehow it looks a little different.
And it's not just the house. Any scenes taking place during the pilot are animated in the old 4:3 aspect ratio, while any scenes set in the present or future are in 16:9. Hello again, 2 black rectangles on either side of the image, my old friend.
Now let's get back to our own time.
And the aptly named episode Thanksgiving serves as the show's first ever Thanksgiving episode. Imagine if the first Christmas episode was just called Christmas.
This food is so good, Lois.
Ah, okay. Wow.
And the episode that follows, Amish Guy, had a cutaway joke that one actor thought was directly targeted at her.
Hey, baby, do those legs go all the way up?
Why, yes, they do.
Ah!
Actor Chloe Grace Moretz believed the clip was in reference to a picture of her that was floating around the internet. The actor stated that ensuing memes gave her body image issues and turned her into a recluse. Look, I think Family Guy knows better than to mess with Hit Girl.
Come back! My legs are shaved like a little girl!
And Cool Hand Peter is an obvious reference to Cool Hand Luke, but there's another movie reference in there you may not have noticed.
I am the warden.
You are here because you are criminals.
The warden is voiced by actor Bob Gunton, whose design is reflective of his role as another famous warden, Samuel Norton in The Shawshank Redemption. The guy just loves playing evil prison wardens. He knows he could just be one in real life, right?
Step forward, maggot!
And the following episode, Grumpy Old Man, also has a subtle movie reference, this time with Avatar.
Why is he blue now? Is it cold on that planet?
That's the voice of actor Joel David Moore, who's actually in Avatar as Dr. Norm Spellman. Not sure who he plays more convincingly, an old man or a big blue cat person. And the episode Meg and Quagmire makes a cheeky little fourth wall break involving one of the animators on Family Guy.
I wonder what's causing all this traffic.
Oh boy, yep, there's the problem. Not drawn yet.
This calls for a big stick to come and wake up the snoozing animator. That's Joe Vox, a storyboarder, assistant director, and director for the show. Funnily enough, his work doesn't even appear in this episode, just that brief little clip. Not a bad way to earn a paycheck, though.
Peter, we're wasting time. Quagmire's in there about to have sex with our daughter.
In the next episode, The Blind Side is the first introduction of Peter's deaf co-worker, Stella.
Nice to meet you.
Well, what is this? We doing a new secret handshake now?
No, Griffin, she's deaf.
Luckily, Stella's voiced by an actual deaf actress, Marlee Matlin, who's also the first deaf woman to win an Academy Award, as well as the youngest person to ever win the Best Actress category. Well, she's been a good sport about all the jokes at least, but she's not afraid to dish it out either. And the intro to the episode Livin' on a Prayer parodies the opening to the show Little House on the Prairie. It looks like they matched the original pretty well. A little too well. There's something about seeing the Griffins so fluidly animated that just doesn't seem right.
Ow! There's a rock right there!
And the episode Tom Tucker, the Man in His Dream, brings back a character who is canonically killed off.
Hey, Knucklebutts!
James Woods!
Currently, James Woods is the only character to be killed off in a storyline and returned to life, as Family Guy's actually been pretty good about keeping characters dead. But I just know they're waiting on the right time to bring back Muriel. I just know it.
Why would I want to help you?
Well, because you're my agent.
Oh my god, you're right! I am!
And be careful what you fish for, Peter tries to help a dolphin named Billy reconnect with his wife.
Who's this then?
He's just a friend trying to help.
Billy is voiced by Ricky Gervais, and his wife Joanne is voiced by Lucy Davis. This episode serves as a little reunion, as both were series regulars on the original UK version of The Office. I wonder if any other Office stars have voiced dolphins. That'd be one heck of a weird pipeline.
And there might be a million fish in the sea, but there's only one you.
Oh, Billy.
And the ending to Burning Down the Bayit made a reference to a very real disease that was spreading through New England at the time.
Well, did you guys learn your lesson about eating uncooked antelope?
Chronic wasting disease became a bit of an epidemic in some parts of the US around this time, which caused severe mental decline in the deer and elk population. Fortunately, CWD can't be transferred to humans, so eat all the uncooked antelope meat you want, I guess. And the episode Killer Queen has a subplot of Stewie being scared of Queen's News of the World album.
Whoa, what's the matter?
What the hell is that? A killer robot monster?
Apparently, this plotline's inspired by Seth MacFarlane's own childhood fear of the album, and we all thought Brian was Seth's self-insert. I bet he even spoke in a British accent as a baby too.
I'll tell you what the news of the world is! We're in a lot of trouble!
And the episode Forget Me Not was the first Family Guy episode to ever be nominated for the Writers Guild of America Award for television animation, though it would ultimately lose to The Simpsons. A tale as old as time.
You're there. You're there!
I couldn't hear you, the radio was too loud.
And the title of the next episode, You Can't Do That on Television, Peter, is in reference to a classic Nickelodeon show called You Can't Do That on Television. If you ever wanted to know where Nickelodeon's obsession with green slime came from, well, here you go.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe,
And in Mr. and Mrs. Stewie breaks a piece of Brian's history.
Don't drink that! Hey, that mug was my crew gift from Class Holes.
This is in reference to the Season 8 episode, Brian Griffin's House of Pain, where his scripted show What I Learned on Jefferson Street is turned into a crude, tasteless comedy called Class Holes. Kinda surprised you'd want to remember anything about that show.
Brian, no!
And in the episode Lego My Mego, Family Guy would kinda predict the outing of a Hollywood figure.
I have 75,000. Thank you, Brett Ratner.
This joke was aimed at director and producer Brett Ratner, and while he wasn't buying children off the black market, he was outed for multiple instances of harassment and assault in 2017, which would effectively end his career in Hollywood.
That was so fun!
And the episode Tea Peter focuses on poking fun at the Tea Party movement.
But what movement would want an angry fat guy with a lot of opinions who hates listening?
The Tea Party movement movement was a huge, fiscally conservative political movement developing around the time season 10 was being drafted, so you just know the show had to poke fun at it. If you've ever seen that yellow flag with a snake on it, now you know where it's most likely from.
Yeah!
Down with the spendocrat!
We are Marshall!
And the episode Family Guy viewer mail number 2 would have an untimely rebroadcast as the death of a Hollywood legend was starting to be discovered.
Ha! You think that's funny, Chief? Well, my wife is dead.
The episode, which involves a story revolving around Robin Williams, was aired on the BBC network just moments before Williams' death was announced. Maybe that wouldn't have been the worst thing, but the episode does involve Peter trying to end things, so yeah.
Mwah! Well, I haven't been to temple in a while.
And if you're wondering what Peter was referencing during the Toto's Africa sequence in the last episode of Season 10, Internal Affairs, well, Seth MacFarlane's got you covered. Well, he wasn't actually referencing anything specific, just nonsensical 80s music video shenanigans. You don't get it, man? It's actually really deep.
Can you ever forgive me?
It's gonna take some time, Joe.
Rest of your life okay?
And in the first episode of Season 11, Into Fat Air, the Griffin family makes their way to Indonesia. That billboard is in reference to Artie Riesel, a toddler that went viral on the internet for smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day since the age of 18 months old. But since turning 9, Artie's kicked the habit completely. I'm happy for him, but I'm also not going to deny the kind of aura a smoking toddler brings to the table.
I don't know what it is, but you have got it.
And a call out towards actor Cary Elwes in the episode Ratings Guy actually received a good-spirited response.
I have been meaning to contact you for some time. I have never been able to figure out if you are famous.
After this episode aired, the real Cary Elwes showed up to the Family Guy offices with his own response to Peter, which was met with great enthusiasm from the writers. If you ask me, they got off easy. Not everyone who makes fun of Wesley from The Princess Bride lives to tell the tale.
Yeehaw! Ride 'em, cowgirl!
And the following episode, Old Man in the Big Sea, has a little reference to another sitcom show.
Oh, hiya, Rachel. Oh, hey, Dr. Geller.
This seems like a pretty obvious nod to the show Friends, as the main cast of that show has a Rachel and a Dr. Ross Geller. But Ross is a doctor in paleontology, which means he can only operate on dinosaur bones, I think.
Me and Joe can stay here and tell secrets. I'm wearing my dead grandmother's panties.
And in the episode Yug Yillamaf, Brian and Stewie accidentally send time into reverse.
And backwards rim shot.
As noted in the DVD commentary, rather than just animating and creating the music normally and then reversing it, the team went out of their way to design the episode's visuals and sounds in a way to give it that effect, as merely reversing the footage wasn't giving them the desired results. Commitment, that's now.
Oh, he's so cute.
Oh my god, we're getting closer to the beginning! You're Lacey Chabert!
And as of right now, the episode Joe's Revenge is the last we hear of Susie Swanson's inner voice.
Today, I saw a balloon.
Please keep finding ways to sneak Patrick Stewart into minor roles in the show, I beg of you. And the next episode, Lois comes out of her shell, nearly brought home an Emmy.
Hey! OMG, stop staring at me, please. Okay, thanks.
Alex Borstein was nominated for an Outstanding Voiceover Performance Emmy for her role as Lois in this episode, but lost to Lily Tomlin in the HBO documentary An Apology to Elephants. I've never met an elephant. What do I need to apologize for?
I guess one of my flaws is I'm just kind of brave.
And the episode Friends Without Benefits has a bit of crossover with a similarly titled film.
We should get off the horse soon. I want to save one for you.
A year prior, Mila Kunis, Meg's voice actor, also starred in a movie called Friends with Benefits opposite Justin Timberlake. I haven't seen it, but something tells me it contains a lot less spiked Kool-Aid and jailable acts towards your brother.
I can see now that you're a complete psycho!
And the episode Jesus, Mary, and Joseph was originally intended to be a small piece of a Christmas Story anthology episode.
Gather round, everybody, and hear the awe-inspiring tale that's caused millions and millions of deaths.
Initially, the retelling of Jesus' birth was only supposed to be a third of the story, with the other 2 sections being a reading of The Night Before Christmas by deaf actor Marley Matlin and a Bob Hope Christmas special parody. Wish we would have gotten those too, but it's good to know they've got some in the chamber whenever it's time to remind us how much we love or hate Christmas.
Oh, I just thought I'd take a break from pooping in the open street to come see you.
That's nice.
And in the episode Space Cadet, Family Guy takes its first shot at the new animated sitcom on the block, Bob's Burgers.
He tried to pass this drawing off as his advanced art project.
Oh my.
I'm very embarrassed.
And then a year later, Bob's Burgers would win its first Emmy. Don't worry, Family Guy, you'll maybe get there one day.
I feel awful saying it, but I'm kind of embarrassed by him sometimes.
And the episode Brian's Play continues the trend of Stewie using the names of Dancing with the Stars contestants for aliases, this time when he writes a play.
They think it was written by Tony Dovolani.
I thought your pseudonym was Gorgeous Randy Flamethrower.
Tony Dovolani is a professional dancer who has appeared consistently on Dancing with the Stars. In the Season 8 episode Go Stewie Go, he would also use the name of a dancer from the show, Karina Smirnoff, while undercover as a girl.
Just like I knew your play was a mediocre patchwork of hackneyed ideas and tired cliches.
And the episode The Giggity Wife features the second time in the show that Quagmire's been married.
Oh my god, I married a...
Yeah, but that's not as bad as his first wife from I Take Thee Quagmire, who threatened to kill him if he ever left her. And that's one king Quagmire actually can't get behind.
Peter, I can't imagine any scenario where this is going to be beautiful.
The episode Valentine's Day in Quahog shares one of its storylines and stars with a closely related animated show.
Toby, what happened?
Oh, I just harvested your kidney.
In the Season 5 episode of Robot Chicken, No Country for Old Dogs, there's a sketch where a woman's kidney is stolen just like Meg. What's even weirder? The woman is also voiced by Mila Kunis, and she's incredibly less bummed about the whole kidney stealing.
Good luck selling that kidney.
And can you believe it? It took all the way until the episode Crisscross for Family Guy to make a joke about a Pixar movie.
Hey, how would you like to go to my apartment? And beyond.
They must have been afraid to target Big Bad Pixar for over 10 years. Or they just forgot they existed. It's a toss-up. And in the episode Call Girl, we finally get to learn Lois's middle name.
Would you mind taking a look at my resume? I haven't had an interview in a while, and I want to make sure it's formatted correctly.
Lois Patrice Griffin. I do notice a problem here. She didn't list where she got her housewife degree. She seems Ivy League to me.
It pays $2,000 a week, sweetie.
Oh my god.
But the episode Turban Cowboy would be pulled from viewing in April 2013 due to a terrible coincidence.
Peter, how did you do it?
I'll tell you, Bob, I just got in my car and drove it. And when there was a guy in my way, I killed him.
A cutaway involving Peter killing a ton of people at the Boston Marathon preceded a real-life attack at the race that would happen a month later. The episode would be brought back by the summer, but even Seth MacFarlane had to come out and say that claims that the show predicted the attack were unequivocally false.
I'm afraid you're gonna really hurt yourself.
And in 12 and a Half Angry Men, the Quahog jury deliberates over their case for a very long time.
You know what would shed some light on this case? If we huck water balloons at people in the street.
While it isn't set out right, we can infer how long it takes for them to reach a verdict by looking at the clocks. The jury meets at 1 p.m., but doesn't reach a final verdict until around 11:30 p.m., meaning they've been at it for over 10 hours. Good thing there are no courts under the sea, because jury duty sounds like hell on earth.
You know what I just realized? My jury duty's tomorrow.
And the intro to the episode Big Fat contains not one, but 2 adult animation cameos.
Hello, neighbors.
Joe, you can walk!
These American Dad and King of the Hill cameos were actually animated for a previous episode, April and Quahog, but had to be cut for time. I'm glad they repurposed these scenes because now we know other shows are just as confused by Stewie as we are.
Damn it. I always wake up before I find out if they can understand the baby.
And the opening for the next episode, Total Recall, also makes reference to another popular show. This is, of course, parodying the intro to Modern Family, a show that was fairly popular around the time this episode came out. I guess they just figured if they had the intro of an Emmy winner, they could win an Emmy themselves.
I'm not going home. I cannot get sick right now. I have way too much to do.
And in Save the Clam, Peter recounts some of his life's greatest moments.
Maggie's first word, Bart jumping that canyon, Mr. Plow, all the greatest moments of my life.
He's forgetting that he's not Homer Simpson, as all this stuff happened to him, specifically from the episodes Mr. Plow and Bart the Daredevil. Look, his favorite bartender just died. Let him believe whatever he wants.
I'm beginning to think everything on that show was a big joke.
And the episode Farmer Guy is yet another episode to premiere at an inopportune time.
Guys, what's that over there?
When this episode premiered on Adult Swim, a devastating tornado had just ripped its way through Moore, Oklahoma, killing 24 people and causing $2 billion in damages. Adult Swim got a lot of messages saying this episode was in poor taste, to the point where the network had to come out and say that the episode was scheduled way before the tragedy.
Shh. What? Did you hear something?
No, I just want you to stop talking.
And the next episode, Road to Vegas, contains a pretty grim decision made by Stewie and Brian.
We could go out on our own terms.
According to the writer of the episode, Steve Callahan, this was the hardest bit of the script for him to write, struggling to take a pretty morbid scene and have it come out a little funny. But hey, I think he succeeded in a pretty twisted kind of way. And the final episode of Season 11, No Country Club for Old Men, would also be affected because of that aforementioned tornado in Oklahoma.
I want to watch the Weather Channel. There are tornadoes in the Midwest, and I like watching poor people scramble to save what little they have.
Unlike Farmer Guy, Adult Swim had enough time to delay this episode for later broadcasts due to the nature of the storms. references. They even did the same for Road to Vegas, even though there are no tornado references. But that episode is kinda depressing, so maybe it was for the best to keep things as light and happy as possible.
I got musical farts.
And the first episode of season 12, Finders Keepers, sees an actor reprise a movie role of hers from over 20 years ago.
Hey Lorraine, whatever happened to that guy Marty from high school?
Don't know. Never saw him after the prom.
That's actress Leah Thompson reprising her role as Lorraine McFly from the Back to the Future movies. Always cool to see actors reprise their old roles, even if it's one where you made out with your time-traveling son.
Mom, Dad, I accidentally set fire to the living room rug.
I am not going easy on him.
And in Vestigial Peter, Peter finds out he has a conjoined twin.
Hi, everybody.
What the hell is that?
Oh my god, it's a little me.
And I guess those glasses on the little guy must be biological because he just comes out wearing them. Must be rough being born looking like a nerd.
Well, I never asked to grow out of your neck.
And the episode Quagmire's Quagmire pokes fun at Adam Levine's singing.
Brian, either you cooperate or I blow my Adam Levine dog whistle.
Hey, my voice isn't that high.
According to the commentary for this episode, the joke was originally supposed to be aimed at American singer Bon Iver. My guess is the lead singer of Maroon 5 was probably the easier target. The next episode, A Fistful of Meg, sees Meg get pulled into a fight with the high school's newest bully, Michael Pulaski.
3 o'clock, Friday. I will destroy you.
This plotline was inspired by the lesser-known 80s film 3 O'Clock High, where a student has to stand up against the school's new bully. But hey, no one melts to a puddle of fleshy goo in that movie. And in the 5th episode of the season, Boopity Boppity, the Griffins decide to visit Italy. The title is of course in reference to the season 6 episode McStroke, where Peter thought he could speak Italian just because he had a mustache. And in the infamous episode Life of Brian, the show seemingly killed off the beloved dog.
You've given me a wonderful life. I love you all.
This was first teased at Comic-Con 2013, but it was only mentioned that a Griffin family member would be killed and replaced. I'm sure bets were high on it being Meg in that room.
You want another beer?
No. I'd love one.
Subsequently, the following episode, Into Harmony's Way, marks the first ever episode in the series where Brian did not appear.
How come I never see you wearing a necklace?
That's not really my thing.
I'll get you one.
This also means Vinny replaces him in the intro, a role he would only have for one more episode. They really said, hey, you like Vinny? No? Okay, we'll get rid of him.
You know, there was a guy on my old block, Johnny Chick Stuff. We called him that because he used to like to,
do chick stuff?
Do chick stuff.
And of course, the following episode, Christmas Guy, saw the return of our good friend Brian.
You're alive, my friend! What? Of course I'm alive.
While his very quick return may feel like a knee-jerk reaction to the public's dislike for the stunt, the episode commentary assures us that this was always the plan. It would have been way too hard to double back on this decision because of how long it takes to produce animation, though some on the team wish that Vinny could have stuck around a little longer. Not McFarlane, apparently. He'll be damned if that dog takes one of his 20 voice acting paychecks away from him.
Merry Christmas, Brian.
And the next episode, Peter Problems, reverts the intro back to the original version.
On which we used to rely.
This leaves the previous intro with Vinny as the shortest used version of the opening, excluding one-off gag openings. Poor Vinny. They never gave you the chance to fly. Sure, you didn't have wings, but the sicko in me would have still liked to see you try.
Well, I figured you'd like to start your day with a stiff one.
And despite the title, the episode Grim Job actually doesn't completely center around Brothers Grimm stories.
Jack and the Beanstalk. Now that title could be a fairy tale or a one.
The story of Little Red Riding Hood is actually the only Brothers Grimm story in the episode, while Jack and the Beanstalk is an old English folktale and Cinderella was written by Charles Perrault. But what connects them all is that they're all horrific when you really think about it.
This hurts! This hurts!
And the following episode, Brian's a Bad Father, sees the return of not one, but two icons of Family Guy.
You're a terrible father. I never want to see you again!
This episode is Brian's son Dylan's first appearance in 6 years, but we would also get to see the return of the coolest kid on the planet, Zach Sawyer. How did this show ever survive without these two in every episode?
I'm Zach Sawyer, and I go where I'm needed.
And the episode Mom's the Word ended up having 2 deaths attached to it.
Yeah, just go ahead and toss it in there. Probably just stuff it in by the feet.
This episode was a send-off to Peter's mother Thelma, who would die in this episode. Coincidentally, this would also be the final role of Lauren Bacall, who would pass a few months after voicing Evelyn in this episode.
Peter, thank you so much for your help in making this cake. But don't you think it would be easier if you stood on the floor?
And despite how they perform in the episode 3 Acts of God, the Patriots would actually see a pretty good season the year this episode came out.
My God, 10 losses in a row?
This whole season's been one long bad dream.
In actuality, not only did the real New England Patriots have a good season, but they actually went on to win their 4th Super Bowl that year. God must have been on the toilet and accidentally let that one slip by.
Oh, by the way, Conway Twitty says cut it out. Just write a joke.
And the episode Fresh Air also gets some things wrong about a father marrying his son.
Is it even legal for a man to marry his son?
It is in Vermont.
But in actuality, no law in the state of Vermont says you can marry any close family member, including parents, children, siblings, grandparents, and more. Now, marrying your first cousin, they're A-okay with that, and so is a surprising amount of the USA. That's something.
Peter, several people have called the police about a man marrying his son. It's not normal.
And the episode Secondhand Spoke was originally supposed to have a celebrity cameo for one of its characters.
I'm Mr. Stone with the ad agency of Anderson, Wheeler, and Third Name.
According to Fox's press release for the episode, actor Peter Dinklage was originally supposed to voice the character of Mr. Stone, but in the final product, he's voiced by John Viner. Apparently, Dinklage read for the role, but the team ultimately felt it wouldn't work out. Honestly, if Tyrion Lannister can survive execution and war, he can probably survive not getting this little cameo.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we no longer need your services.
And Herpy the Love Source sees a callback to one of Brian's past successes, if you can call it that.
We actually just changed your profile picture.
Ignoring the picture of herpes as best I can, his header picture is of his book, Wish It, Want It, Do It, from the episode Brian Writes a Bestseller. And I think that might be his other book, Faster Than the Speed of Love, next to it. Suddenly, the herpes profile pic isn't the worst thing to look at on his page.
Well, we need to teach him a lesson. He's a menace!
And the episode The Most Interesting Man in the World is sadly home to yet another actor's final performance.
And welcome to our museum. Just so you know, I'll be eating through most of this.
That's the voice of actor Dennis Farina, who passed away before this episode premiered, making this his final television role. At least he got to have a great last meal.
Ah, man, that's good sausage. Oops, excuse me.
And in the episode Baby Got Black, the show makes mention of the origin of one of their characters' voices.
It's us, you idiot!
She's still dead.
Oh, you guys are more meaner than the Jerky Boys.
Cleveland's referencing a once popular prank call comedy duo that was co-managed by Johnny Brennan, who actually voices Mort Goldman on the show. Brennan even uses the same voice for Mort as his prank call character Saul Rosenberg.
We had some fireworks that were left over from the 4th of July, and I blew one off in my hand.
And in the episode Meg Stinks, the show flexes its misunderstanding of the German language.
Christopher, are you ready to go to the Guten Schwarzen?
Hell yeah!
Firstly, Guten Schwarzen isn't a real German word, though in Norwegian it roughly translates to boy black. On top of that, Chris responds with hell da, but da means yes in Russian, not German. Ja is the appropriate word, while da is mostly used to specify something, meaning this, that, here, or there, depending on the context. Thanks for tuning in to today's lesson on Duo Clamo. And He's Black marks the official return of Cleveland to Quahog and the obvious end of the Cleveland show.
And your ratings blew.
We did about the same as Bob's Burgers.
That's your bar?
It's also the last time we would hear Cleveland's stepson Rollo speak on the show, while his stepdaughter Roberta has yet to speak a single line. I guess that's the price for having to come crawling back to your original show.
Sup, man?
Yeah, sup. Keep walking, you boondocks ripoff.
And in the last episode of Season 12, Chap Stewie alters the past so he was never born into the Griffins, which means the show's gonna need a new intro. And if you listen closely, they even muted Stewie's vocals from the theme song. It's subtle, but kinda noticeable. It's like they made that gag for obsessive overanalyzers just like me.
So stick around or...
I'll come to your house and murder you!
And Season 13 kicks off with a bang with the long-awaited crossover episode, The Simpsons Guy.
You see, I'm a family guy.
I understand. I'm The Simpsons.
The episode was brought about by Family Guy executive producer Richard Appel, who had also worked on The Simpsons in the 90s and was still in good standing with that team. The Family Guy writers pitched multiple different ideas for the episode, including a version where the Griffins end up staying with Lenny and Carl in Springfield and never even meet the Simpsons. That idea probably would have made a lot of people angry, and that almost makes me wish we could have seen that.
You like I don't think we're very similar.
In the following episode, The Book of Joe, the show makes a passing remark about U2 lead singer Bono and his penchant for always wearing sunglasses.
What if Bono had been afraid to wear sunglasses? Then nobody would know about Africa.
Coincidentally, about a week later, Bono would publicly announce that he's had glaucoma for over 20 years, hence his desire to wear sunglasses. I won't say the reason for him coming out and doing this is because of Family Guy, but I'd like to think the show can lead us to understanding life's greatest mysteries.
That's the back of the box. Well, how else are you gonna know I'm in a box?
And in the episode Baking Bad, Peter and Lois decide to open up a cookie store.
Now all we gotta do is name the store. Oh, I got it. Peter's wife's cookies.
And in case you were curious, this leads to the word cookie being said 24 times throughout the episode. I know you weren't curious, but now you've got a neat fact that will never be any use to you. Isn't that fun?
You promised I could get a cookie if I finished all my surgery.
Did you?
Yeah.
And in Brian the Closer, a cutaway in the show actually brings an important fact about pregnant women's health to light.
You need me to clean out your litter box?
While this is just making a joke about cats being jerks, there's an actual connection between cat feces and pregnancy. Cat poop can contain Toxoplasma gondii, which is a parasite that can lead to birth defects in pregnant women, and some doctors even recommend that pregnant women not clean litter boxes while with child. See, dogs would never try to poison you. They'd just get too excited and accidentally knock you down the stairs. Or, in Quagmire's case, sell you bad real estate.
And that is 72 hours. Enjoy your crap hole, dumbass.
In Turkey Guys, Brian and Peter swing by a market to find a Thanksgiving turkey.
Hi, do you have any turkeys?
Sure do. You're looking at one.
The store they go to, Highland Park Market, is an actual store located in Connecticut. Not only that, but it's actually owned by the twin brother of Tom Devaney, one of the writers for Family Guy. One brother went into the grocery business, the other went into the disturbing cartoon violence business.
The man of the house killed a turkey for Thanksgiving.
And in The 2,000-Year-Old Virgin, Peter gives you an address to send your hate mail to.
But probably not as outraged as the 10 million Christians watching. Please write to this address, quickly.
Bold of them to assume 10 million Christians are watching Family Guy. And no, the address doesn't lead to any real place, as the writers were very careful not to make someone the victim of their hate mail. The address just leads to the Pacific Ocean, which is where I happen to live. And the episode Stewie, Chris, and Brian's Excellent Adventure is occasionally interrupted by actor Tony Sirico.
Hey, Family Guy. You're lucky I got a man of gut in the oven, or I'd bash your face into a bolognese.
If his voice sounds familiar, that's because he voiced Vinny, Brian's replacement for 2 episodes back in season 12. Looks like the show isn't ready to part with his intense Italian energy just yet.
That's 2.
And in Our Idiot Brian, he talks about doing unsavory things while watching the movie Black Swan.
That way when I watch Black Swan, I can aim one at Natalie Portman and aim the other at...
Yes, we all know who the other one was.
But in case you didn't know, the other actress he's referring to is Mila Kunis, aka the voice of Meg. Gotta be awkward talking about your coworkers like that, right?
What about your hot mom, Meg?
What?
I said, how about your dog? He's smart.
In This Little Piggy, we learn that Meg has a birthmark on her foot.
Wait a minute.
And that birthmark is definitely in every episode. What, you're really gonna be the guy that goes through every episode looking at Meg's feet to prove me wrong? Have some dignity.
There's an animated version of you and me doing it. Who put that on there?
And in the episode Quagmire's Mom, we finally get to see the titular character.
Your Honor, as the defendant's mother, I ask that you show mercy on him.
His mom is voiced by actress Allison Janney, who is coincidentally the name of a giraffe Peter stole from the zoo in season 5's Barely Legal, which happens to do stuff to Quagmire. Didn't think this moment could feel any grosser.
Allison Janney?
Oh, good morning, honey. That feels really good.
And a charity auction script for the episode Encyclopedia Griffin gives us a bit of a peek into what was planned initially in the story.
Will you hold this beer bottle while I try to kick the top off it?
Ow, damn it!
According to the script, the episode was also supposed to feature Batman, Robin, Commissioner Gordon, Jeffrey Dahmer, and multiple Philip Seymour Hoffmans. It also lists 2 Family Guy team members as subs for Chris and Meg, which makes me wonder if they have backups for when one of them isn't available.
Oh no, I hit input. Oh no. Oh God, we may have to throw away the television.
And the episode Stewie is Enceinte gets its name from an episode of I Love Lucy called Lucy is Enceinte.
That could be my favorite thing I ever seen.
Back in the 50s, the word pregnant was deemed too inappropriate for television, so they went with a French word instead. Well, I think people in the 50s would have had their brains explode if they had to see this pregnancy.
Careful, don't get anything on the... seats.
And at the beginning of Dr. C and the Women, Joe and Quagmire argue over whether the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean is better.
Everyone knows that pound for pound, the Atlantic is the best ocean.
Pound for pound? What are you talking about? You can't weigh the ocean.
Actually, you can, as scientists have estimated that the ocean weighs approximately 1,450 quadrillion tons. But that still doesn't settle which ocean is better. There's only one way to settle this. Ocean versus ocean inside a steel cage. This Sunday.
You're an idiot.
I'm an idiot. All anybody remembers about your argument is that you're in a wheelchair.
And in #JOLO, the guys take a depressed Joe on a ride on the Niagara Falls Whirlpool Aero Car.
Well, this has just been one heck of a fun day.
Good thing they didn't go with a real design of the Aero Car, because that would have been way too easy for Joe to jump out of. Though they probably wouldn't be riding it because the actual Aero car is not wheelchair accessible. They must have changed their policies after Joe's meltdown.
Joe, wait!
And the episode Once Bitten was supposed to include a celebrity guest appearance, but it was cut for unknown reasons.
Get out of that chair. Leave the eggs.
But this is my breakfast.
TV personality and famous dog whisperer Cesar Millan was supposed to appear in this episode. He'd even recorded lines and everything, but his cameo would never see the light of day. Sounds like some behind-the-scenes politicking from Brian to me.
Enough is enough, Peter. The dog's not in charge of this house.
And in the episode Roasted Guy, Peter decides he wants to have his own roast after seeing one on TV.
It's an infomercial for the Dean Martin celebrity roasts.
Wait, you mean Comedy Central didn't invent those?
Kinda surprised Peter doesn't fully understand roasts, considering Seth MacFarlane has been the roast master for several on Comedy Central, even holding the record for most times hosting. He's hosted roasts for David Hasselhoff, Charlie Sheen, and even Donald Trump. After 25 years of doing this show, I think dunking on people is just in his blood.
Screw all you guys! I hope you all eat turds and die!
And the next episode, Fighting Irish, was labeled as the 250th episode of Family Guy.
Yeah, I'll tell you who might want a heads up. Liam Neeson.
Oh, for God's sake.
And while it is true that this is the 250th episode in the production order, it was actually only the 248th to be broadcast. But look, if you're gonna have two of the most famous Irishmen squaring off, you're gonna make a big deal about it.
Will Liam Neeson punch Peter? Will Stewie stop being jealous of his mom or something?
And the final episode of Season 13, Take My Wife, is also the only speaking role Donna has in the entirety of Season 13.
Somebody do something!
Wish I could, Donna, but I guess you're just far too expensive to be talking regularly on this show.
I feel like you should help out more around the house.
I feel like salty and sweet.
And the first episode of Season 14, Pilling Them Softly, would nab Seth MacFarlane his first Emmy in nearly 15 years.
Welcome to Pillow World, Bri. Let me get up and greet you.
Seth MacFarlane would win the Emmy for Outstanding Character Voiceover Performance at the 2016 Emmys, though with an episode heavily featuring Peter, Brian, Stewie, and Quagmire, it's hard to say who exactly nabbed him that award. Hopefully they don't mind splitting it 25 ways.
What do you say, Peter?
I say let's do it!
And in Papa Has a Rollin' Son, Stewie becomes best friends with a tiny version of Tom Cruise. The mailbox is most likely referencing former news personality Matt Lauer, who Tom got into a pretty intense spat with back in 2005 when the two were discussing antidepressants and psychiatry. So while his stature may be a bit exaggerated here, his passion and fire certainly is not.
You are making a big mistake, Stewie. Nobody walks away from Tiny Tom Cruise.
And in the episode Guy Robot, Carl shows off some of his impression skills.
Here's that guy Bob from Bob's Burgers. Hi, I'm Bob from Bob's Burgers.
In actuality, H. John Benjamin, who voices Carl, also voices the main characters in the shows Bob's Burgers and Archer. I know, I was shocked to learn that too. He really does his best to hide it.
Hey Archer, it's Bob. Hey Bob, it's Archer. Thank you.
And in Peter Normal Activity, the guys go to see the sequel to one of their favorite horror films, Maniac Pope.
May the sword be with you!
This is most likely a reference to the cult classic B-movie Maniac Cop, which also features a killer going outside the bounds of his profession. The guys must not be true fans though, because how do you go into a movie called Maniac Pope 2 and not expect it to be bad?
Jeez, this movie sucks.
No, it's terrible.
And in Peter, Chris, and Brian, Peter finds an old VHS tape from when he was a kid.
I just hope to God you're not stuck in some loser job like in a brewery or a toy factory or a fishing boat. Oh boy.
Except I'm gonna be an insufferable tech nerd and call this out. The video Peter plays fits his flat screen TV, which would make it a 16:9 aspect ratio, but VHS tapes are recorded in 4:3 aspect ratio. Sure, it's inconsequential and doesn't really matter, and yet, I hope everyone who worked on this episode was fired.
I don't want to watch any more of these movies ever.
And in Peter's Sister, a cutaway produced 10 years prior finally got to see the light of day.
Chico's Monkey Farm, the only drive-through monkey farm in northern southern Rhode Island.
Hoo-ha!
According to the DVD commentary for the episode, this cutaway kept getting rejected by Seth MacFarlane, who eventually folded and left it in this episode. But since it was produced a decade ago, it had to be reanimated and readjusted to fit the show's newer HD aspect ratio. Not sure who fought through blood, sweat, and tears to get this to broadcast, but congratulations, you weirdo.
Keep your windows rolled up, cause the monkeys will pry them open, and they're known to strangle kids.
And Hot Pocket Dial has an interesting coincidence in an inconsequential cutaway.
You've got to stop lifting sewer hole covers.
But the Ninja Turtles live down there. I'm friends with them.
The two voice actors in this scene, Kevin Michael Richardson and Seth Green, also happen to voice characters in the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, with Richardson voicing Shredder and Green voicing Leonardo.
But stay out of the sewers. We're trying to work down there.
Thanks, Donatello.
And the ending of the next episode, Brokeback Swanson, parodies the ending of the film Stand By Me.
I never saw much of Joe after that. And while he's been gone for many years, I've never forgotten his face.
But this isn't the first time the show parodied the ending, as they also parodied the entire movie in the first section of the season 7 episode Three Kings. Though this time around there's a lot more adult-on-kid violence, which actually makes it even more like a Stephen King story.
These aren't my kids. And also, this isn't play wrestling. We're actually fighting.
And the controversial episode, A Shot in the Dark, had to be delayed twice before eventually airing.
I'm sorry, sir. No visitors.
Excuse me, I'll have you know I'm the shooter.
Originally, the episode was delayed due to an attack in Paris in November 2015, and then again after a shooting in California in December. I know the show doesn't mind a little controversy, but this might be a tad much even for them.
You're a stupid man! A stupid man!
And the inspiration for the episode Candy Quahog Marshmallow is somewhat inspired by true events.
This is Winter Summer. It was a Korean soap opera that I was in.
You were in a Korean soap opera?
Apparently, when writer Chris Regan was trying to pitch an episode to the rest of the staff, he offhandedly mentioned that he used to be in a Korean soap opera. This funny bit of trivia was much better than whatever the heck he was pitching, so the writers decided to base an episode around that. And it probably helped that they hadn't done an episode making fun of South Korea yet.
I feel like I want to giggle behind my hand at a lot of things and hold but not eat a big ice cream cone.
And in The Peanut Butter Kid, Family Guy reuses a jingle from an older episode. This little tune is called Alley Cat, and it was first heard in the series in the episode Bill and Peter's Bogus Journey, sung by two bodybuilders professing their love of steak and eggs for breakfast. Steak and eggs for breakfast? In this economy?
Steak and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for breakfast.
In the episode Scammed Yankees, we're treated to a short cutaway starring the actual Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Mean-spirited thoughts from the stars can take thousands or even millions of years to reach the Earth.
The ship he's in is based off the Ship of the Imagination from Tyson's show Cosmos: A Space-Time Odyssey, a show that Seth MacFarlane is an executive producer on. Incredible. Any more wise insights into the universe, Neil?
Hamburger.
Hamburger indeed. And in an app a day, Stewie's out to win a tennis trophy.
And I already know exactly where I'm gonna put that trophy.
So the baby died?
According to Inside Family Guy and Illustrated History, the show is going back and forth with censors on which way the trophy would be inserted. They said that if the narrow end was at the bottom, then it could maybe look like Stewie was trying to swallow it, and that would be okay for censorship. Yeah, sure, whatever you say, FCC.
I will drop you to your knees and shove my racket so far down your throat you'll be my grip for a week!
And the episode Underage Peter clocks in Mayor West's 100th speaking role.
I'm here tonight with the deputy mayor.
Hi, everybody.
Shut up.
How MacFarlane talked him into such a long-running role is beyond me, but it looks like West has always had fun with it. Rest easy, King.
Well, what do we have here? A cowboy and a princess?
And in a lot going on upstairs, we can see a few interesting tidbits on Lois's license.
Today, I brought in my mother's driver's license. Now, if you look closely, she's clearly drunk.
And if we look even closer, we see she's labeled with Restriction A, which usually means nothing, but in Rhode Island, it means you're required to wear glasses or contacts while driving. No wonder she runs that kid over later in the series. Also, her license number ends in A113, which is a long-running inside joke between animators found in countless films and shows, referencing a classroom number at the California Institute of the Arts.
You could put a breathalyzer up to that photo and she'd get a DUI.
And the following episode, The Heartbreak Dog, is named after the 1972 comedy film The Heartbreak Kid.
You know what? Let's get out of here.
But instead of a dog running off with a married woman, the movie focuses on a guy breaking up his newly formed marriage to chase after a college student. Well, I guess that would kinda make him a dog too, huh?
I know how to make jewelry. I just don't know how to make the metal go into shapes.
And the press release for the episode Take a Letter claims a guest celebrity voice actor will feature, yet they don't actually appear in the final product.
Well, my answer is yes, Peter. Yes, I will marry you.
The character of Gretchen is voiced by Paget Brewster, but in the press release for the show, actress Kathryn Hahn was listed as the voice of Gretchen. Whether this was a last-minute change or a miscommunication is unknown, but it looks like we'll have to wait before Agatha herself graces us with her presence.
That's my Peter. That's my Peter.
And The New Adventures of Old Tom contains a little I Spy game for video game fans.
Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm playing a really cool new video game, Michael Douglas's Munch-Out.
There's a ton of video games on display that look just blobby enough to skirt around copyright, but you can actually kind of tell what they're supposed to be. Behind Peter, you can see Brave, Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, Portal 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, NBA 2K14, FIFA 2014, and Forza Motorsport 4. No Family Guy video game though. Must have just been flying off the shelves.
What? Throat cancer? But all I did was drink scotch, smoke cigars, and this?
And in Run Chris Run, the show accidentally got a 7-year-old video blocked on YouTube.
How about we play a little old school double dribble?
Okay, but no stupid-ass shots from the corner.
The show used footage from an old NES game, Double Dribble, using footage that a YouTube account by the name of Switched posted. Soon after the episode's premiere, the YouTube video got mistakenly hit with a copyright strike and was taken down. After outcry from fans, the matter was resolved, but it just goes to show how nonsensical YouTube's copyright system works. Don't I know it?
You gotta get out there, Cleveland.
I'm trying. He's taking advantage of poor technology.
And the final episode of Season 14, Road to India, marks the first time the show had a Bollywood star lend their voice to an episode.
Our next contestant comes all the way from America, Brian Griffin.
That's Indian actor Anil Kapoor, who's more or less resuming his role in the 2008 film Slumdog Millionaire. Glad they could bring some authenticity to the episode, but now I gotta wonder what Kapoor thought of the show's takes on India.
I feel like I owe every bus in America an apology.
And the first episode of Season 15, The Boys in the Band, would see the brief but welcome return of Vinny.
All right, listen up, you little pieces of garbage. This song's about getting heartburn from baked clams.
Unfortunately, this may be the last we see of Vinny, as his voice actor Tony Sirico passed away in 2022. But I'm sure the show is never short on Italian stereotypes to hit us with.
You paid $19 to fly Spirit Air. You get what you get.
And the episode Bookie of the Year would also be the last appearance of Frank Sinatra Jr.
I set up one of those Kickstarters. Then I realized how stupid that is, and I went to the bank for a loan like an adult.
This episode would air 7 months after the singer's death, and the episode is even dedicated to his memory. I'm sure having him on the show was a dream for McFarlane, and Frank left him with the greatest gift he could ask for: a cover of the Family Guy theme song.
He's a Family Guy.
And the following episode, American Gigolo, was advertised to have a little surprise by Seth MacFarlane himself. So the surprise was a recut clip of unearthed audio of then presidential nominee Donald Trump making unsavory comments about women. The audio had just recently come to light, and the Family Guy team made a last-minute call to insert it into the episode since it was incredibly relevant. But later airings of the episode, and even the DVD version, replaced this section with a gag about animal sobriety checks.
Excuse me, sir. Is that a baggie of catnip on your seat?
I have a card for that.
And the episode Inside Family Guy is loaded with references and callbacks, but there's an interesting one that doesn't reference this show.
This is how we did that. Bet you didn't know.
This is the only time the show has ever made reference to perhaps Adam West's most iconic and well-known role, Batman. The show was always pretty restrained about referencing it, but considering this episode is pretty meta, I'm sure they thought it was time to give one little nod. Plus, the people did really need to know how they did that.
Would it kill us to just once tell a joke that brings glory to God?
And in the episode Chris has got a date, Chris ends up going to homecoming with singer-songwriter Taylor Swift.
Hey, Chris Griffin. I just saw your video, and I'd love to go to your dance with you.
And if you're confused about the very long title, well, it makes a little more sense if you're reading it to the tune of Taylor Swift's song Shake It Off. But while Taylor Swift didn't voice herself in that episode, actor Sean Penn does voice himself in the next episode, Hot Shots.
That's right, two-time Oscar winner Sean Penn.
My mistake, sir. Sean's son, Hopper Penn, is also listed in the credits, but it's not entirely clear who he voices. Always nice to see a father and son working together. Reminds me of when me and my dad used to pass the time voicing characters on Family Guy too.
Vaccinations are a human right.
Great, just what I needed, a lecture from liberal Hollywood.
And the episode High School English is one of the rare few episodes that doesn't contain any cutaways.
The Great Gatsby, a book by the only respected guy in the world named Scott.
But considering this episode is 3 different stories told in one episode, does that mean each section is technically a long cutaway? Gonna stop thinking about it before my clam brain begins to melt down.
You hungover?
A little bit, yeah.
And in the following episode, Carter and Trisha, Carter makes mention of vending machines with underwear inside it.
And if anyone needs some dirty underpants, the vending machine's right over there.
This is in reference to burusura, the practice of selling used underwear that used to be more commonplace in Japan back in the 90s. Though laws have changed and the practice has more or less died out, there was a time when vending machines filled with underwear could easily be found. At least the bug snack machines are still going strong.
This must be so difficult for you.
It is. There's a lot of choices here.
And in How the Griffin Stole Christmas, Peter receives a questionable gift from Santa.
It's that penthouse you found in the woods.
With Vanessa Williams and George Burns on the cover?
Santa mentions that copy was hard to find, and for good reason. One of the featured spreads in that edition includes a girl named Tracy Lords, who was only 16 years old at the time, which technically makes the magazine illegal to own. I think Santa should seriously reconsider how he goes about drafting the naughty and nice list.
Now you gotta listen, you little bitch! Whose suit are you wearing? Your suit!
And the episode Passenger Fatty 7 is dedicated to a longtime voice actor on the show.
So that was San Francisco.
I didn't realize how hilly it was gonna be.
The episode is dedicated to Carrie Fisher, who voices Peter's boss Angela and tragically died 1 month before the episode's airing, though Angela's death in the show wouldn't be acknowledged until season 17.
You move, you're dead, so nobody try to get smart.
Page 100.
And not only does the episode Gronkowski's feature guest star Rob Gronkowski, but his brothers and dad even get in on the fun.
These are my brothers. Actually, one of them is my dad. I'm not sure which.
And like Sean and Hopper Penn before them, voice acting on Family Guy is a family matter.
But genetically, they're a product of me blamming onto a side of beef.
And the end credits of Peter's Def Jam features a techno song using a compilation of quotes from throughout the series.
Giggity, 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 giggity.
Oh. Who wants chowder? Who wants chowder?
Hey, Peter.
Sweet.
It's certainly something. Let's hope whoever on the team made it didn't quit their day job. And the finer string sees the return of everyone's fifth favorite stereotype on the show, Mr. Washy Washy.
Those scales sound terrible. You fat and lazy. You leave now.
At least he agreed to help Peter's artistic pursuits. Nothing says I believe in you like a hot iron to the back.
Is somebody making a Cuban sandwich?
And after the passing of Adam West in 2017, the episode The Dating Game was aired in his honor, along with a tribute.
I checked with my mom and she said it was cool with her if we wanted to sleep here tonight.
Seth MacFarlane saw this episode as a great commemoration of West's impact on the show, stating, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you have given, Mr. Mayor. You're irreplaceable."
2 bits in a cardboard box, which may or may not contain a mystery bag.
And in Cop and a Halfwit, Stewie decides to wear a Michael Sam jersey in an effort to appear more manly.
2 boy names, doubly masculine.
Like George Michael?
Shut up!
Chris points out a few more famous men with 2 guy names, Elton John, Barney Frank, and Ricky Martin. But not only do they all have that in common, but each of them has publicly come out as gay. So yeah, Stewie's probably on the right track, whether he knows it or not.
You know, ballet is great exercise. Maybe you should put short stack in a tutu.
And when Meg joined a roller derby team in Saturated Fat Guy, the Family Guy team made sure they learned from the experts.
Nice move, Griffin.
The team consulted with the LA Derby dolls to make sure they were representing the sport as authentically as possible, and Meg's team even ended up repping their colors. Anyone who can make Meg look like $1 million is alright in my book.
I'm gonna dodge it.
And the episode Peter's Lost Youth features a callback to a previous episode.
I've got that murdered jogger's Discman you wanted last week. Still bloody.
Joe's referring to a request Peter made for him 2 episodes ago in Cop and a Halfwit. They really decide to care about continuity in the most random places, huh?
I want a murdered jogger's Discman.
Peter, you know I can't do that.
And the episode The Peter Principle gets its name from a much-discussed business philosophy.
I'll be your new principal.
The theory states that workers are often promoted to positions they aren't qualified for. Essentially, just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you'll be good at another thing. Kinda like how Peter becomes principal after being good at... What is he good at? Drinking? Lounging around? Getting fired?
You are hereby relieved of your duties.
A promotion?
No, you're fired.
And the episode Dearly Deported has a little subtle reference for you indie movie fans out there.
Where's the slide?
Just eat this Starburst.
That guy is voiced by Nat Faxon, who is the co-director of the 2013 movie The Way, Way Back, where Faxon also plays a water park attendant. I haven't seen the movie, but I'm curious if that character is also giving people suspicious substances.
My friend, I'm an adult who works at a water park. If I give you something, it's acid.
And the last episode of season 15, A House Full of Peters, is yet another episode inspired by another real-life occurrence.
Well, we were all pretty excited to meet you.
What do you mean, we?
According to Inside Family Guy and Illustrated History, a friend of writer and producer Chris Sheridan was rejected from a donation bank after they learned that he already has fathered numerous children after making donations in college for beer money. Good to know there are rules in place to prevent a modern-day Genghis Khan.
Lois, is a president stronger than a king? What the hell?
And that's all for now. Be sure to keep an eye out for our final video in the series covering Season 16 all the way to the latest season, Season 23. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like to show your appreciation and subscribe to the Sweaty Clam channel if you haven't already.